Hey guys, what's going on? Flame HD here, and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. In this video, we're going to do sort of a lineup predictor, with the Premier League starting on the 13th of August. Today, as I'm recording this, it's the 10th, so I'll probably put this out the 11th. So that's obviously today for you guys, tomorrow for me. And yeah, I thought I'd go through what we have on the screen right now. So I did this last year, I think, for our game against Tottenham. I think it was like the 4th week in. But I'm thinking about doing this regularly on games that are of some importance to Sunderland. So obviously with the first week of the Premier League, we have Manchester City. Then the week after, we've got sort of a half derby game against Middlesbrough at the Stadium of Light. So 2 important games, so I will be doing lineups hopefully for the both of them. That sounded better in my head, but without further ado guys, let's get on with it. So starting off in goal, we have the one and only Vito Mannone. So obviously he is our number one now. Mannone isn't a bad keeper, you know. He's just had a bad run of luck, I suppose, in the Sunderland shirt, and he just needs that little bit pick-me-up. I mean, our first game against Manchester City, I'm not expecting, you know, like a 2-0 or a 3-0 win. I'm expecting a decent performance. I am kind of expecting to get beat. It is Manchester City after all. They have signed Ilkay Gundogan from Manchester City. I think they've also signed Leroy Sané from FC Schalke. So they've picked up quite a few decent little signings. Nolito as well from Sevilla. I think they signed him from Sevilla. 3 incredible signings for them. They've also just signed, if I remember correctly, if I was listening properly this morning when I got up, they've signed John Stones for just under 50 million from Everton. I mean, he's another Raheem Sterling, I suppose. But I honestly, guys, I honestly don't think John Stones is worth 50 mil. I don't even think he's worth 20, in my opinion, but that's just me. So, like I say, Vito Mannone will be our starting keeper, I suppose, this season. Our primary keeper, anyway. So, let's just hope the shots get kept down to a minimum. I've obviously gone for a 4-3-3 because that's practically our formation these days. So moving on to the defence, and at left back we have none other than Patrick Van Aanholt, who in my opinion has done well in a Sunderland shirt. He has got potential. He is something like 24, 25 now, so he's still technically young as a football age, but he still needs to work on his defensive positioning. Now, he does like to bomb forward, all fullbacks do, don't get me wrong, but if he works on his defensive positioning and refrains from going forward all of the time, then I might be happy with him. But he is going to be our left back this season. He is the only left back we have at the club apart from Tommy Robson, who I suppose isn't very experienced in the Prem, so obviously Van Aanholt is. So Van Aanholt gets the start from me. Moving on to the centre-backs is Younes Kaboul. Kaboul is the powerhouse of the defence alongside his partner Lamine Kone. Come on, thank you. So Lamine Kone and Younes Kaboul there in the centre-back positions, both solid. You know, they both cover each other well. Kone, there's a bit of speculation about Lamine Kone at the minute. Obviously, Everton have put an £18 million bid in for him, but in my personal opinion, I don't want him to leave the club. He was stopped outside of training today by a couple of local lads. He pulled over and spoke to them, and he says he doesn't want to leave Sunderland. He actually wants a new contract. So that in itself kind of like says, what does that tell you, you know? I mean, our best centre back for years. You know, like for years we haven't had a good centre back, but we've finally got one in Lamine Kone. He's old fashioned. He just gets rid of the ball, no nonsense. You know, he loves a good challenge, and we really do need to keep hold of him if we want to do well this season, because we cannot afford any more leaky defences, especially against Manchester City on Saturday. In right back, we have Billy Jones, and there isn't a lot to be said about Billy Jones. I mean, he done alright pre-season. I watched all the pre-season games. I did like, I think it's Ethan Robson. I think that's the right back, sorry. Ethan or Josh. It might be Josh Robson, actually. There's three of them at Sunderland. There's Thomas Robson, there's Josh Robson, and there's Ethan. I think Josh is the right back. But Josh kind of done alright at right back. But Billy Jones, I think, will be our primary right back next season. That is, if he can keep fit. Besides that, I noticed in the pre-season that David Moyes was experimenting with Sebastian Larsson and also Jack Rodwell in right back, so I'm not quite sure where they'll fit in. I mean, Larsson has played as a right back in the past. As for Rodwell, he played right back for Everton as a child. Well, I say as a child, like as a youngster, but not much Premier League experience there. So, like I said, Jones should be our primary right back, but I would like to see David Moyes go back in for DeAndre Yedlin, who is getting, you know, pushed in the right direction, as in go sign for Sunderland. So we did help him so much last season, and yeah, I really do like DeAndre Yedlin. So I would like to see Yedlin come back and reclaim his first team place. Moving on to the midfield, we have three midfielders. The obvious choice is Jan Kajkov, because he is that midfielder that sits in front of the back four. He cuts all of the bullshit out. Like, so if they've got an attacking midfielder, someone like David Silva or Kevin De Bruyne, they're being Manchester City, and they're running towards the defence, Kirchhoff is going to be there to cut it all out, and he will drop into a sort of as a third centre back in terms of being under pressure. So when the whole team is under pressure, Kirchhoff will move from defensive midfield to centre back in between Kuboul and Kone, and provide that little bit of defensive stability, because he has played at centre back for Bayern Munich, where we obviously bought him from. I'm not sure if we've given him a contract yet. I would like to see us give him a contract, but we'll see in the future. His first midfield partner is none other than Lee Cattermole, who does not need any introduction, loves a challenge, loves a good booking, but under the new Premier League rules that have been introduced this season, Cattermole is going to have to curve some of his inhibitions, because obviously with the new rule changes, he can't just, you know, argue back with the ref or, you know, make those sly little gestures or comments towards the ref, otherwise he will pick up a booking, and if he's already on a booking, you know, he'll pick up another one. That's 2 yellows, that's a red. So we cannot afford Cattermole to lose his cool this season. We have to keep it bottled. His last midfield partner, I actually hate to say it, is Jermaine Lens, because we've been playing Lens in sort of an advanced central midfield position during pre-season, and he done alright, I suppose. I mean, he did try and juggle out to the left, but Wabi Kazri kind of just pushed him back and said, look, I'm left mid, you're in the centre, you stick to your position, we'll get the ball to you. And it kind of worked, I suppose. But Lens, I think I like Lens through the middle more than I do out on the wings. You know, he's able to, you know, jink around, pull off a couple of skill moves, create that little bit of space and then get a shot off. So hopefully Lens can be that creative midfielder that we've lacked since Sessegnon, when we had Sessegnon back at the club before he moved on to West Brom. We did have Charles Nzogbia as part of the pre-season squad, he was very, very like good in my opinion. You know, his passing was spot on. He was tracking back. He was attacking. He's pacey. Yes, he's 30-year-old, but he still had it, and it was really fun to see. So I'm not sure if Nzogbia will be getting a new contract from David Moyes or from Sunderland themselves, but me personally, I wouldn't mind. You know, Nzogbia would become then a squad player, and if someone like Lenz got injured, then, you know, bring Nzogbia on. As for the three up front, it's the obvious choices. We'll start with the left mid, being Wabi Khazri. Now, Khazri, kinda, for me, he does alright, I suppose, out on the left mid. He does obviously seem to prefer that position now that he's pretty much solidified the left wing as his position in the team. You know, he's creative, he's pacey, he just, like I say, it's sort of what I was saying about Catamol. He's got those inhibitions where he likes to lose it a bit. So Khazri is the next one to get, you know, just a warning, I suppose. Just calm down, keep it cool, and everything will be good. On the right hand side, we have big man Barini, and Fabio Barini for me is sort of a workhorse. You know, he gets forward. His defensive qualities and attributes aren't really as good in my opinion, but I do like Barini as a striker, as a forward. So I would still play him on the right hand side, don't get me wrong, but I'd have him sort of like a half free roll kind of position where if he wants to, he can cut in, get a shot off, or he can go down the wing, get a cross in, and hopefully the man in the middle, which will be Jermaine Defoe, can get on the end of it. And obviously Defoe is the one in the middle. Defoe needs no introduction. He is one of the best strikers of all Premier League history. His goal scoring record speaks for itself. He got 18 goals in all competitions last season for Sunderland, and like I say guys, no introduction needed, no explanation. There's only one choice, it's Jermaine Defoe. So that is the starting 11 that I would go with if I was the manager of Sunderland, I suppose. Bit of an odd concept, but there you have it. So yeah, Manone in goal, Van Aanholt, Kabul, Kone and Jones in defence, with Lenz, Kirchhoff, Cantamol in midfield, Khazri, Defoe and Barini up the top. Moving on to the bench. Now, the bench isn't of consequence, but there are a couple of players that I might not be able to add. The first one is Duncan Watmore. Now, I'd keep Duncan on the bench because, you know, he's pacey, he likes to run at people, you know, he's an incredible young talent that we've brought through last season, and he has impressed me. So keep Watmore on the bench, and, you know, we'll bring him on. Hopefully we can bring him on and see what he does. The next substitute I would use or put like on the bench as an emergency is Sebastian Larsson. Now that he's fit, Larsson is one of those he's a versatile midfielder that can play roughly anywhere along the midfield, or right back, or, you know, left back if needed. I do apologise there, guys. So Larsson, like I say, Larsson's a versatile player. He can play multiple positions if we need him to, and with him being 31, he's still got a little bit of pace about him. You know, he's full of energy as well. So Larsson for me he deserves a place on the bench. The next person is I mentioned him earlier, is Nzogbia. Now, I'm not sure if Nzogbia is, you know, if he's going to get given a contract or not. I'm really not sure. But me personally, I would like to see Nzogbia become part of the club. And obviously, he's got that flair ability that, if brought on as a substitute, he could change a game. He can be a game changer for us. So, yeah, I would love to see Nzogbia be given a contract and obviously a place on the bench. The next person is Jack Rodwell, who for me isn't really one of those players that I like nor dislike. He's just in the squad to make up the numbers, and yeah, he can play centre midfield. Like I say, he's played it right back in the past, but nothing of consequence for Jack Rodwell. Next substitute is John O'Shea, who is our club captain, but these days he does not get a start. So during the pre-season, John O'Shea was used in the Kirchhoff role, which was sort of like here, just where that centre mid is underneath Kirchhoff. So I do apologise, sorry. Kirchhoff plays in the front of the back four, and John O'Shea was obviously he replaced Kirchhoff in pre-season games and played in front of the back four. So it's not exactly we're not exactly playing him at centre back, so it's not exactly, you know, shooting ourselves on the foot or, you know, hanging ourselves on a noose. So O'Shea, for me, you know, he will be on the bench. You know for a fine fact he will be. The next person on the bench that I would imagine would be on the bench, if he's on this FIFA, is Thomas Robson. There he's there. An emergency fullback, just in case Van Aanholt or Billy Jones gets injured, and we can bring that left back on in order to, you know, shore up the team, I suppose, keep the chemistry. I can't really say much about Robson. You know, he played well in the pre-season, got down the left wing alright, took players on, he looked full of energy, but no real Premier League experience. So we're not going to go down that road any further. The last substitute in between Nzogbia and Watmore here, I can't put into FIFA because I know he's not in the game, and that is Joel Asoro. Now, Joel Asoro is 18-year-old, I do believe, and he is fantastic. He played so well during the pre-season, and yeah, I would love to see Joel Asoro be given a chance in the Premier League. He's one of those young talents that, you know, he puts his head down, he works, and he's got an eye for goal. So he's obviously getting tutored by Jermaine Defoe. And Watmore last season, he came through the ranks no friggin' problem. So hopefully for me, Asoro can be that next rising star at Sunderland, and will maybe replace Defoe once Defoe starts getting older and he hasn't got the legs anymore. So that is it altogether for the team. The starting 11, the subs, all covered. Just a quick note, guys, that, like I say, I'm not expecting us to beat Man City. This is just a lineup. I will be doing lineups for like the critical games. I might not turn this into like every week. If you want me to do the predict the lineup every week, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd be happy to do it, no problem, if that's what you guys want to see. And yeah, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know in the comment section down below, and by dropping a like on the video, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one.